Okay, we are starting the final parak of Kiddushin. Wow, we're going to be, what Rabbi say, it's a big siyum coming up, because when we finish Kiddushin, we will be finishing half Shas in the Mishna Yomis. That's really remarkable. We will be finishing half Shas, because we did Seder Zram, Seder Mayid, and Seder Nashim. That's half Shas. That's big stuff. It's interesting. I think we will be finishing, let's see, today is Aleph and Beis, Friday is Gimel and Dalid, Shabbos is Hey and Vav, Sunday is Zayin and Ches,
7 days.
Monday is Tes and Yud, Tuesday is Yud Aleph and Yud Beis, Wednesday is Yud Gimel and Yud Dalid. So we are finishing on my father's yahrzeit. My father's yahrzeit is Wednesday. So we're finishing on my father's yahrzeit. That's very special. The first time I did Mishna Yomis, I dedicated it to my father. If those that Dr. Block, you'll remember when I did the last time the Mishna Yomis, every day I mentioned my father on Tzvi ben Rameir. Okay, so
Wednesday night?
Huh?
Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we are dedicated. Le'ilui Nishmas, Harav Moshe ben Rav David, L'Refuah Shalema Fel Yom Moshe ben Chayesar, for the schus of Avraham ben Yom Benish ben Malki Yehudis. We are dedicated by the Fisher family. Le'ilui Nishmas Basi Bas Rabbi Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain. By Yol Klugman for that Parnasa Gesund Nachas L'Refuah Shalema, for Avigdor Aryeh ben Rivka, and for the Refuah Shalema of Meir ben Chayesara. When Ezra went up to Bavel, he was afraid that when he went up to Bavel, and he took, the sages, of course, went with him to Eretz Yisrael, there wouldn't be scholarly people remaining in Bavel to be able to paskin the laws of who is allowed to marry who. So he took with him all those people who had questionable lineage. Asari Yuchasin Alum Bavel. 10 levels of pedigree went up from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. Kohanei, Leviei, Yisraelei. Kohanim, Leviim, Yisraelim, Chalolei. Now Chalolei are the children of forbidden unions of Kahuna, like a Kohen that marries a Grusha, or a Kohen Gadol that marries an Almana. Geirei, converts. Charurei, freed slaves. Mamzerei, mamzer is a product of a forbidden union of an Isser Koris or an Isser Misas Bezdin. Nesinei, a Ger Givoni. Shtuke is someone who we don't know who the father is. If Shtuke means that if a child says, Daddy, the mother silences him. So we don't know who the father is. Asufi is a foundling who we don't know who the father or the mother is. So those are the 10 levels. So now the Mishnah tells us who is allowed to marry who. So Kahane Leviye v'Yisraeli mutar and lavi zeh b'zeh. That's obvious. A Kohen, a Levi, and Yisrael are allowed to marry one another. Now, it stops there, because a Kohen can't marry a ger, and a Kohen can't marry a freed slave. But Leviye Yisraeli Chalole Geirei v'Charurei, a Levi and Yisrael is allowed to marry Chalolim, because a child from a forbidden union is allowed to marry a Levi in Israel. A child from a forbidden union of Kohen, like a Kohen to a Grusha or a Kohen Gadol to Alman, it's just forbidden to another Kohen. Geirei, a Levi in Israel is allowed to marry a convert, and Charurei, and is allowed to marry a freed slave. Mutar and Lav Zeh B'zeh, they were allowed to marry each other. Geirei v'Charurei, a convert and a freed slave, because we have a din that kahal geirim lo ikre kahal. So geirei v'charurei mamzerei unesine, a mamzer and a ger givoni, shtuki, one who we don't know who the father is, vasufe, and a foundling, kulon mutar and love zebazet. They're all allowed to marry each other. And this is a very interesting thing. You see, when we don't know who the father is, the child is a suffix mamzer. Now we would think that a suffix mamzer can't marry a mamzer, because since he's a suffix mamzer, he might not be a mamzer. If he's not a mamzer, how can he marry a mamzer? But so the Tana of this Mishnah holds that only a Vada Yisrael is not allowed to marry a mamzer, but a suffix is allowed to marry a mamzer. Now Mishnah Beis defines for us what's a shtuki. The Elohim shtuki, what's a shtuki? Which means that when the child says daddy, the mother silences him. Koshu makares imai, where we know who the mother is. Ve'ena makares ava, we don't know who the father is. Asufi is a foundling. We find a baby outside. Now, of course, this is in a city that's Rav Yisrael. A city that's Rav Goyim, the Asufi would be a Goy. But if it's Rav Yisrael, but we don't know who the father is, we don't know who the mother is, Asufi, Kol shenesaf min hashuk, ve'ena makar, it's gathered in from the street, and we don't know loy aviv v'loy imai. Now, Abba Shaul says that if the mother says, I know the father, and the father is a kosher, he holds we believe her. So Abba Shaul yekare l'shtuki beduki. Abba Shaul calls the shtuki beduke because we have to examine. And that means if the mother says, I know the father and he's kosher, we would believe her. And only if the mother doesn't know the father, then he would be forbidden. So Abba Shaul is more lenient and says we believe the mother. The Tanakama holds we do not believe the mother. Okay, we want to thank everybody for joining us and making this such a pleasant evening. It was a really interesting daf again. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful Shabbos.